Namaste, and I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. My name is Crystal, and this is the first, I guess you could say, confession from my channel, The Memoirs of a Wannabe Yogi. A few years ago, I would say about maybe 5 years ago, I began to write in my journal, I guess you could say more consistently. And this was a time in my life where I was also going through a transition. And we'll get to that later. But writing became therapeutic for me. It's, I guess you could say, many specialists and philosophers, people out there will tell you that writing is very good for the soul. It allows us to release. And so this is why it's recommended in almost many modalities. And what it does is it allows us to move it from here, like in the mind, to on paper. And this is quite brilliant because, first of all, we release it, we say it, not maybe vocally writing it, so we express how we're feeling. And then this expression allows us to sometimes sporadically go back in time to places where we have forgotten, or perhaps we have chosen to forgotten because it was too painful. Or to other times where you have the same story replaying in the mind that's completely affecting our day-to-day life. And so writing it now allows us to release, to reflect, because then you go back and you read it, and it's funny compared to the point where you read it after you write it, and then weeks or maybe months later, and then a year later, that's when you see the change. It's quite amazing to be able to see as a human being your progress, your thought form, your beliefs, how you feel and how you felt. And most people will agree right now that this whole time thing is becoming a topic of discussion. We hear, where's the time going? Time is flying by, or there's not enough time in the day. They say it gets worse with age, and if that's the case, I'm at 27, and I have to say that it just goes like this. Someone out there with wise words said that when you're having fun, time goes by very quickly. That could be debated. However, what I'm talking about right now is that we live in a time of information, of knowledge and wisdom. We have access to it all globally. Some of it, or most of it, you have to take it with a grain of salt. But because we're learning so much, and we have the opportunity to be introduced to this information, resources, opinions, things can happen very quickly. And in life, there's a lot that we can, I guess you can say, plan, and others you cannot. When we become more self-aware, when we, no matter what way or in whatever way we decide to do so, and what I mean by that is whether it's through books or spirituality or religion or science, anything that gets us to be wowed by the existence of this earth. In every book it's spoken of, and just opening our eyes, looking outside, we could see that this is a beautiful place. We've been tormented by pain for a long time, but there's time again. There's a lot that is changing within our reality. And for me, time, in a sense, what I speak of is I'm so different who I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago, or even yesterday. We can have these aha moments that completely change us. And other habits or other behaviors take a little bit or take more time. So I had been thinking after writing my journal for a few years to actually publish it. I studied it. I even sent my work to a publishing agency, but then I didn't really pursue it. And I kind of at one point stopped writing, and then I went through these phases where first I was writing, and then I did some art. I was reading a lot, so that was another phase, and then meditation as well. So it's like you go through all these phases. You make time for it, I guess you could say, in a euphoric day for all of it. However, for me, I went through phases. So when I would go back to writing after, a lot of it was poetry or n- n- not as opinionated about who I was or what I did. It was more about how I feel now. And so I tried in my words to go, I guess you could say, dig down and deep into metaphysical questions, spirituality, um, and then watching hundreds of people on YouTube sharing who they are, whether it's music, art, dance, comedy, I mean, acting, the list can go on. The information that you can access on YouTube is quite beautiful, and people are able to express themselves and to send out information to others that can also touch them. So then I thought about doing like a video blog. And the reason why I thought that too is because I got to a point where so much was happening up here. Honestly, I feel like it was, when I would get into deep meditations, like so much thought, information was pouring through me, that writing slowed me down. Couldn't catch up, whether it's by hand or typing. So then, and then you get caught up with some at points of how it's written or grammar. So I bought a camera and I started doing my own journals over video. And this was also quite therapeutic and allowed me to face some fears, and it's its own beautiful journey to itself. And so now here we are, and this is the first evening, I guess you could say, that I'm making a video for the Memoirs of a Wannabe Yogi, which is going to be a series of weekly confessions where I'm speaking to you like this, telling you how I feel. Other days it will be reading from the book that I had been working on or are working on. It would also be videos that I make to articulate or to express in whatever way or shape or form I choose, whether it's through music or dance or writing or just being. I'm looking forward to sharing my own experience about life, because I find that as human beings, it's not just preaching that works, it's also stories, and we are able to change through other people's story. I have witnessed that myself through the many different books and cities and people that I've ever met. And so I hope that at least one person out there through the Memoirs of a Wannabe Yogi will feel as though they can not only relate, that they're not alone, that uh, there's a way for everyone to maybe allow them to, if they haven't started writing or journaling, that maybe that would inspire them to do so. We're here to inspire one another, not to only to be vessels for the light, for God, but also this vessel is a mirror reflecting each other's light. And this, I think, is a way that I'm choosing to live my life, step by step, day by day. And this is why it's called the Memoirs of Wannabe Yogi. I am working towards that. When I meet individuals that are not only seeing the light within themselves, but also sharing this light with others. And by doing this, they allow the other to see the light within themselves. I think this is the most beautiful part about being a human being. And it got, I guess you can say, quite fearful at one point when it came to 2012 and the end of the world, and are we going to go down just like other civilizations? And it's still pretty crazy out there in the world. However, there's this feeling within me that knows that there's actually at the same time so much light, and we all have the choice to want to go up or down, and not to preoccupy with the down. In fact, to try to uplift it and to focus on that, to focus on evolving, the evolution of the human species here on Earth. We have, and we are beginning to just have a glimpse of the glory of man, as they say, and women. Soon, as it has been in the past, and it will always continue, I just feel like now it's like the snowball effect, that humans will be able to exceed to a potential that probably they could have never imagined. Or if they did, it's in books and movies. Right now, we're slowly starting to see that our reality is what we make of it. And if many, many people together around the world are working towards the same goal, I guess you could say, or the same purpose, mission, to be the best human being that we can be, to be in service for one another. And when we do so, they say 2 hands are better than one. Can you imagine 8 billion who have the opportunity to really see who they can be? This earth is going to be quite magical, or it will continue to give us aha moments. Show us the endless, giving that the universe has and always provides. And I am so thrilled to be part of it. So thank you for watching this video. And until the next confessions, good night.